Okay, so welcome everybody to tonight's Success Academy training. And tonight we are going to be talking about the CAPS personality profiles, particularly aimed at network marketers. So hopefully this will help you when you're dealing with your teams or dealing with people. So life, when all is said and done, is really based on relationships, whether they're personal relationships, whether they're people in your team, whether they're the prospects that you're dealing with and you're a SEA business, or even for products. The CAPS profile helps you build social intelligence skills by helping you improve the ability to quickly read and communicate effectively with different types of personalities, because trust me, we all have them. Network marketing is really a people and a service business. You know, as far as a people business goes, you know, you may have learned a whole pile of technical skills, you know, how to do Zoom, how to do presentations, all of those things, product knowledge, but you need the skill of dealing with people to use those technical skills to the best of your ability. And communication skills can be learned and they truly can be improved upon. And a lot of people think they don't, it just comes naturally, but you truly can learn this. And of course, we are absolutely a service business. You know, there are many things that we cannot control in this industry, as we all know, but you can control your actions and the way that you can be of service to your team and your customers. So if you serve well, you will absolutely be rewarded well. And never, ever forget that all of our income is a direct result of your team's efforts and your customers' sales. So be a servant leader. No matter what rank you are at, when you get people into your team, when you start growing a team, be a servant leader to the people you bring into this business. Be the kind of leader that you would follow. That's really important. So knowing how to make people feel comfortable and how to communicate with them and help them communicate better with you will help you make decisions more confidently and correctly about the people you're dealing with. And it will truly give you the reputation as a true professional. Because interestingly enough, the gift of the gab will not do that for you all the time. And in fact, it will make some people feel really uncomfortable. So when basic people skills are missing, we find misunderstandings, disagreements, unhappy team members, and a very high rate of people who are not interested in what you have to say, no matter how amazing it is. And everybody in this call knows how amazing what we have is. But if you don't deal with the people properly, you're going to lose them. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is the saying, treat others as you would like to be treated. I've heard that so many times, but it should really be treat others as they would like to be treated, because not everybody likes to be treated like you like to be treated. And it's a very big lesson to learn. So rapport. Rapport is really important. Rapport is a relationship of accord and harmony, and you can learn how to establish rapport to maintain healthy team environments and to have more people interested in what you actually have to say to them. And this will lead to great teamwork, a stronger professional reputation, and absolutely greater number of people who will actually say yes to your proposition. But you must be willing to take the first step, to make the first move and modify your own actions in order to build rapport with somebody, especially if they are a different type of personality to you. And you're going to learn why shortly. So to gain rapport with a person, you need to quickly establish what kind of person they are and how they would like to be treated. This is extremely complex, but can be really simplified quite easily to suit your needs. So we're going to look at certain personality styles tonight. And as you can see here, there are lots of different ones of these. You know, there's colors, there's animals, there's the melancholic, sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, you know, Florence Littauer's personality plus, and also the Myers-Briggs, which actually has 8 letters in there, which is quite complicated, and I've studied that as well. But tonight, we're going to follow the CAPS system, which is in Melissa and Bart Cotter's Circle of Success. And it truly is wonderful and easy to follow when it comes to our business. So if you know, and a lot of network marketing people do know, Personality Plus by Florence Littauer, we're going to be talking about controllers instead of cholerics. We're going to be talking about analyzers instead of melancholics. We're going to talk about promoters instead of sanguine and supporters instead of phlegmatic. And as you can see, they are much easier words to remember about a person and to understand just by the word what it actually means. So this is a much easier system, even though it is very similar. So let's get into the CAPS profile. There are 4 basic personality types. We have controllers, analyzers, promoters, and supporters. And at the end, I'm going to actually show you this and give you the ability to do one of these tests on your own. And this basically, when you've done this questionnaire, will show you exactly where you sit in this CAPS profile. So we will do that at the end. So controllers are reserved with people. They're assertive with things. They're precise about their use of time. They're really cool and in control. They're very, very goal orientated. They're the doers. They're the take charge types. But controllers need to do things like run the show, to dominate, to be in charge, and to win. And of course, controllers do make good leaders if they can control some of their nasty side. Analyzers are very reserved with people. They're very passive when they deal with things. They're very factual. They're precise. They're methodical. They do not take risks. They're not goal orientated. They take things very, very slowly. And what analyzers need is security, a lot of time to think about things, and they truly rely on facts, and they need those facts to rely on. So promoters, we have quite a few promoters in network marketing. They're verbal and fast acting. They're the life of the party, creative, energetic, optimistic, and they're not time structured or goal orientated. And they're just born to convince and inspire others. And promoters need to be liked, to be appreciated. They like excitement. They love change, and they love lots of activity. So supporters, this is the last one of the 4 profiles. So supporters are the touchy-feely people. They're concerned about feelings. They're outgoing with people, but they're very passive when they deal with things. They're concerned about people. They're flexible, they're caring, and they're very, very loyal. They're very good listeners. They're not time or goal orientated at all. They're certainly not risk takers, don't like stepping outside their comfort zone, and they will do anything to avoid confrontation with somebody. And supporters need to be accepted and to be liked. So, can my CAPS profile change? Your primary pattern reflects your predominant day-to-day behavior. So for most people, their primary patterns are fairly consistent over time. But as some of us change and grow or enter into new situations, new jobs, and new whatever, our profiles can vary somewhat, but they don't change dramatically. So we normally have, 2 types of main personality types and 2 that aren't so strong. So for example, if your scores, may be fairly equal in both a controller and a promoter pattern, as a team member working with many people, your promoter traits will be the dominant trait that you have. But however, if you find yourself in a leadership role all of a sudden, then your assertive controller type can actually come to the forefront. So yes, it can change, but it doesn't change really dramatically. So let's have a look at the 4 styles' strengths and weaknesses. So the controller, great strengths. They're goal orientated, able to assess a problem and decide on a solution. It's what you need from a leader. They're a good supervisor and a leader. They project confidence and they get the job done, and they're very, very competent. But they do have some weaknesses. They may not focus on the human side of things. They can appear really bossy and cold to some personalities. They can sometimes be really rigid and inflexible. They have difficulty turning over control to others, and sometimes they can actually forget to smile and be friendly because they're too busy thinking about what they have to do. So success development for a controller type. Their strengths are often their downfall. They need to learn to smile more, and they need to learn to give more praise to others. They need to learn to use their heart as well as their head. They need to be willing to listen and be more flexible. And they need to remember that their way is not always the only way. So if you combine the above with the great organizational skills, they can truly be very dynamic in this business and wonderful leaders. So if you get a controller prospect, trust me, these will be the people on your chicken list right now. They're the people that you would be afraid to call. Controller prospects can be the most challenging, but they can also be the most rewarding. They will test your ability to be on time and to be accurate. If you're running late, don't hold them up. Give them an option to reschedule and apologize. They will expect you to be professional and to know your business. So if you don't, please get an upline to talk to people on your chicken list. Give them professional advice, but let them make their own decisions. Don't talk too much. Controllers don't like small talk. They want to get down to business, and too much chatter will drive a high controller away. And they may not show you appreciation, but a controller's highest praise would be to join you in your business and to recommend you to others. So, suggestions on what to show them, the people on your chicken list, any controller that you might have as a prospect for your business. Connect them with your expert as soon as possible. Someone with experience and credibility, usually your upline. Give them a one-on-one presentation because they will appreciate that personal attention. Use the Kotter's overview sheet and the Kotter's Live It guide. They are fantastic tools. Give them information about special corporate networking events where they can be connected to people of influence. And of course, that is when we don't have COVID going on. Residual income, a ASEA compensation plan, and the Brilliant Compensation by Tim Sales. Both of those things, they need to have a look at those. They need to see company financial statistics, which are absolutely magnificent with ASEA. Show the company magazine, show success stories. And of course, with Facebook, unless they're already an associate, there's a lot of our Facebook groups that they can't join. But of course, you can put them into ASEA Wealthy Self and ASEA Healthy Self. So website suggestions for a controller prospect. ASEA Science, and get them to look at the independent studies. ASEA Global, We Are Redox, I Am ASEA, the ASEA Genesis video, and of course, Google Scholar and PubMed. So let's have a look at the analyzer. The analyzer's weaknesses. They can spend too much time gathering facts before making decisions or taking action. They're not in touch with their own feelings or the feelings of others, and they have trouble deciding what to do in an unstructured situation. And they may be really hesitant and shy, and they may not be able to project confidence. Their strengths, though, they can figure things out and understand them. They're able to exercise self-control. They're very precise. They understand the need for and follow the rules. They have the ability to plan and set goals, and they are diligent workers. So success development for an analyzer. So if you think you're an analyzer, then you need to think about these things. You need to be warmer with people and consider their feelings a little more. Try not to overemphasize facts and figures to people who aren't interested in facts and figures. You need to make decisions more quickly because it takes analyzers a long time to make decisions sometimes. And they need to take the occasional risk and step outside their comfort zone. And they really do need to come out of their shell a little to survive in a network marketing environment. So the analyzer prospect, you can pick them very easily. They're very quiet, they're very reserved. They will withdraw into their shell if you are aggressive or loud in any way. You cannot push an analyzer to make a decision in a hurry, and too much talk is going to drive them away as well. They just don't like small talk. Too much chatter will drive a high analyzer totally away. They can take a long time gathering facts before making a decision, so supply them with all the information they need. Analyzers need time and cannot be rushed. And they may be the person who continually comes back and asks for more and more information. And if you really want them on your team, then you are going to have to continually supply them with the information they're needing, until at some point you may realize that that's just not going to happen, and then you can leave them alone. But while they're still asking for information, obviously they're showing interest. So suggestions on what to show an analyzer. A public business presentation. More people gives more credibility to them. The Kotter's overview sheet, of course, and the Live It guide, company financial statistics, information on residual income, being the ASEA compensation plan, and the video Brilliant Compensation with Tim Sales, product information sheets, everything you can get your hands on. Demonstrate the 3 and 5 exercise for them, and of course ASEA Healthy Self and ASEA Wealthy Self. So websites suggestions, of course, ASEAScience.com, and point them to all the independent studies, and they could spend hours going through that. ASEA Global, ASEA VIA, Renew Advanced, Google Scholar, ASEA Impact, We Are Redox, ASEA Genesis, and PubMed. These guys are called analyzers for a reason. Give them as much information as you can. The promoter. The promoter's strengths is that they are totally inspiring and charming people. They have loads of energy and enthusiasm, and they're really good at motivating others, and they're creative and expressive. They're very confident, and they have good social skills. But they do have some weaknesses. They need to be the center of the attention most of the time. If they're a really high promoter, then they just love to be the center of attention. They can lack self-discipline sometimes. They're not great at following through, and they may forget commitments and promises that they've made. They may break the rules, which can create dissent in a group, so you need to be aware of that. They can be sarcastic and unkind sometimes if they feel they're being backed into a corner by somebody or made to feel unappreciated. And they do make excuses for not making targets or incentives. So success development for promoters. If you think you are a promoter, don't get caught up with how much people like you. Focus on the job at hand and not the social life. Pay more attention to being on time. Read more self-development books and listen to audibles. Focus more on achieving your goals and really practice self-discipline. And promoters can really be the best if they can tame their wild side and settle down a little and get stuck into the business. So a promoter prospect, these are interesting. They have lots of energy and enthusiasm, creative, expressive, they're charming, they're confident. You will need to massage their ego, and they need loads of attention. You may struggle to get them to focus on your proposition. So what you talk to them about is mention the fun, the incentive trips, being rewarded on stage in front of their peers, all of those things. But also be aware that they can turn on you unexpectedly if they think they're kind of not being treated the right way. So a high promoter can be a little like that. They get offended and they think their back's against the wall and they come out fighting. So what to show a promoter prospect? A public business presentation, of course, more people, more fun. The Live It guide, the Kotter's overview sheet, Information on incentives and promotions. And remember, I haven't mentioned these things before because they're not important to the other personality types. But information on incentives and promotions, convention party videos and pictures, the compensation plan, they are interested in money, demonstrate the 3 and 5 exercise. They think that was quite exciting. And of course, Healthy Self and Wealthy Self Facebook pages. Website suggestions for these guys. ASEA Global, We Are Redox, I Am ASEA, ASEA Impact, ASEA Genesis Video, and perhaps Google Scholar. But mostly things to see people being rewarded for their work, because that's what a promoter would be looking for. And the supporter. The supporter's strengths. They are great team players. They enjoy working with people. They're really great at fostering group communication. They're great counselors. They're loyal and they keep commitments, and they're truly creative and expressive as well. But they have some weaknesses. They have no internal direction. They really need to be directed. So if you have supporters in your team, then you need to really help them and keep them heading in the right direction. They often lack a strong desire to achieve. So in network marketing, that can be a little difficult. And we do have a lot of supporters in network marketing, and they tend, not maybe to climb the ranks as quickly as others, but they're always there supporting people. They're not goal orientated, and they don't like the pressure of goals at all. They don't place importance on time and deadlines, and they can be really unhappy when they don't have the approval of others. So they can be quite difficult to manage sometimes. So success development for supporters, they need to be willing to take some measured risks and truly step outside their comfort zone. And if they can't do that, then they're not going to succeed in network marketing. It is as simple as that. They need to try and make decisions in less time than it would normally take. They need to set goals, write them down, look at them every day, do all of the things that they really need to spur them on, and then work towards them. So combined with the supporter's natural warmth and caring, which are brilliant in this business, if they can do these things, they can have a successful career in network marketing. So the supporter prospect, they are very friendly people who love to make small talk. So these guys, you can make small talk all day. You need to spend extra time with them because they actually crave that. They desire acceptance and approval, so you need to show them this. You need to talk to them about the things that they would like about the business. So you need to talk to them about the teamwork and the meeting new people and the new friends that they're going to make. They have trouble making decisions and will need your help, but don't push them too hard or pressure them. If you get it wrong or upset them, they won't tell you or complain because they're not like that. They don't like confrontation. They're not going to tell you you've done something wrong. They're not going to complain about you. You just won't see them again, and they will not answer your calls. They will disappear into the witness protection program. So the supporter prospect, suggestions on what you can show them to help them along. A public business presentation, if you can, more people, more credibility. The ASEA ethos and culture information. Again, not something I've talked about before with the others, but to a supporter, this is very important. Information on the ASEA business model, but point out that they can only get ahead by helping others because that's really important to them. Demonstrate the 3 and 5 exercise with Renew 28, of course, and pop them in the ASEA Healthy Self Facebook page. Website suggestions for these guys, theadvancinglife.org. Now, again, haven't mentioned that before, but this is something that supporters would want to know about. The ASEA Genesis video, ASEA Impact, the ASEA Ethos Academy, all of the videos, they're in our virtual library, but you can also find them on this Vimeo link. And ASEAglobal.com, and of course our new one, weareredox.co. So these are things that the supporters might be interested in and help you get them to join you in your business. So the trait used in dealing with people and in dealing with things combine in 4 different ways to make up the 4 personality styles. So they deal with people and they deal with things differently. So a supporter deals with people in an outgoing way, but they deal with things in a passive way. An analyzer is going to deal with people in a reserved manner and deal with things in a passive manner. A controller is going to deal with people in a reserved manner, and they're going to deal with things in an assertive way. And a promoter is going to deal with people in an outgoing manner and also deal with things in an assertive way, just like a controller does. So you can see that some things have things in common. A supporter and a promoter both deal with people in an outgoing way. And an analyzer and a controller deal with people in a reserved way. A supporter and an analyzer deal with things in a passive way, and a controller and a promoter deal with things in an assertive way. But the supporter and the controller have no things in common, and the analyzer and the promoter have no things in common. And this is where things start to get interesting. When opposite personalities come together, there is a much greater chance of conflict and problems. So these are personality shared traits. So you can see here that a supporter shares things with an analyzer and they share things with a promoter. A promoter shares things with a supporter and also shares things with a controller. An analyzer shares things with a supporter and a controller. So they all have things in common, but polarity patterns are complete opposites. And as you can see, a supporter and a controller, and you can even tell by the pictures, they have nothing in common. And again, you can tell by the pictures that an analyzer and a promoter have nothing in common. They have different ideals and viewpoints and no common concerns. So whenever you encounter polar opposites, there is a great potential for conflict. But this does not have to be the case. By understanding the differences in personalities that you're dealing with, you can work together and have a harmonious relationship and strengthen the team situation by using each other's strengths and forgiving each other's weaknesses. That is a very important one. So high patterns equals high opposites. So when polarities encounter each other, explosions and conflicts can occur, but it's not always the case and doesn't have to be the case. The degree of polarity depends on how high each person is in their primary pattern and how little of their polarity pattern that they possess in their own profile as well. So if you are really high in your primary pattern and very low in your polarity pattern, you are much more likely to encounter conflict with people whose primary patterns are your opposite. And let's have a look. This will kind of explain this when we go through, and you guys can have a chance to do this after the training if you would like to have a look at what type of personality that you might be. These two personalities are very likely to encounter conflict. And the reason is this one over here is very high in analyzer, but this guy is very low in analyzer. And this guy over here is very, very low in their promoter. And this one is very high in a promoter. So they are very polarized. They do not have much in common at all. And they are likely to encounter conflict unless they know how to deal with it. And you can. So how the 4 styles perceive each other, and this is really interesting, and this is where you can start to learn how to handle people who are your polar opposites or aren't quite like you. So with promoters and supporters, what they like about each other's interest in people, their concern for team spirit and relationships, they can motivate each other, they're creative and friendly, and their willingness to talk and touch. The other two are not like that. They have problems, though, when the supporter goes too slowly or does not seem energetic to the promoter. When the promoter becomes restless or impatient, then the supporter won't like that. When the promoter takes risks and makes snap decisions, that's going to upset the supporter. And when the promoter is self-centered, as they quite often are, that's not something that a supporter likes either. So promoters and controllers, they like each other's leadership qualities, assertiveness, and self-confidence. Promoters like controllers' ability to get the work done because this means less work for the promoter. Promoters like the controller's ability to take risks and make the decision. But a problem occurs when the controller criticizes the promoter because promoters do not like to be criticized or backed into a corner. The controller tries to dominate or control the promoter. The controller reminds the promoter of deadlines or work and goals. The controller does not show warmth and caring towards the promoter, or the promoter demands more appreciation than the controller thinks they deserve. All of those will create conflict. Promoters and analyzers, they share no traits. The promoter shares no traits with the analyzer. They have problems because the analyzer requires the promoter to focus on facts and figures, which they just can't do. The analyzer takes too long to do something. The analyzer does not laugh at the promoter's jokes. The analyzer is not won over by the promoter's charm. The promoter does not pay attention to detail. The promoter becomes impatient and quick to anger, or the promoter's emphasis on people and feelings instead of tasks and deadlines. So some supporters and analyzers, they like that they are patient and unassertive, and they both are. They're both very patient and unassertive type of people. They do not like confrontation, and they have very much concern for security and safety. But again, when you have them together in a group, they have problems because analyzers withdraw and don't talk to cooperators. Analyzers can't express their feelings and their desires. Analyzers insist on structure or rules. And of course, supporters don't like those. The supporter wants to talk endlessly at the analyzer, or the supporter touches, hugs, or invades the analyzer's space. These are things that analyzers do not like, and supporters always do. So supporters and controllers, they have no shared traits at all. They have problems when the controller is demanding or bossy. The controller doesn't show enough concern or sensitivity. The controller rushes or pushes the supporter. The supporter appears too friendly or gets too close to the controller. The supporter is late or appears unstructured, or the supporter ignores problems rather than fixing them. These are things that the controller will not like. So analyzers and controllers, they share quite a few things. They share the concern for goals, tasks, rules, and organization. The analyzer likes the controller's self-control. The analyzer likes the controller's emphasis on getting the job done. And the controller likes the analyzer's ability to follow rules. Controllers like that analyzers are logical and easy to reason with. But again, they do have problems. When the controller is demanding and wants answers immediately, because the analyzer does not like to give answers immediately, they like to think about things. The controller doesn't show enough concern or sensitivity. The controller rushes or pushes the analyzer. The controller makes decisions that the analyzer doesn't agree with, and the analyzer seems unable to make a decision. And that is exactly what an analyzer is like. So promoters with promoters, they get on famously. They enthusiasm, vision, ability to generate ideas. They have a willingness to forgive each other's faults, which is great. Their lack of concern and deadlines and commitments, but they really do have problem if they are both vying for the limelight or the attention of others. No one can seem to complete work or stick to their own plans when they're trying to work together. And of course, if they are competing for the same prize when only one promoter can win, that can also be a problem. Analyzers and analyzers. They love their concern for detail, their precision and their correctness. They love their quiet ways and their absolute lack of chit chat. But again, they have problems when neither of them can stop analyzing and actually make a decision. It takes forever to get things done if you have a group of analyzers together, because nobody will risk giving an answer that is not correct. So if you're putting a group of people together, don't put a group of analyzers together. Make sure you have some other personalities in there for these reasons. So controllers with controllers, again, they love each other's self-confidence, the fact that they get jobs done, that they're direct, that they're assertive, and they really have a drive to achieve and be their best. But they have problems when the controllers are competing for the same thing. They really can have a power struggle. One controller tries to control or direct the other one, and one controller makes a decision that the other one doesn't agree with. Of course, that can all create conflict. And supporters with supporters. They love their sense of friendship and affection and the way they feel for each other. They're easy give and take of ideas without one-upmanship, because they're not vying for the prize. But when you put them together to work, they have problems because there is no leader to set out goals, and they cannot reach a decision on how to get things done, very similar to the analyzer. So you can see why some people just can't seem to get along. And if you understand why someone is the way they are, you can usually forgive whatever it is that bothers you. Because honestly, most of the time they can't help what they are doing. They're not doing it to annoy you. They're doing it because that is their personality, and it's very hard for them not to be like that. So you can fix it, but it takes effort, and you need to think and act in a particular way that is not how you normally would, and you need to take control of that situation. This will help you have a better relationship in every area of your life. But if you can use this information in your business, it will help you gain rapport with your prospects and get more people to say yes. So let's have a look at the simple version. When you meet someone straight up and you need to figure out this stuff, of course, you can't because you haven't been with them long enough. But there are a few little clues that really do help you know how to treat somebody when you first meet them. You need to look for signs from the person and mimic them, basically. So if they are really reserved and quiet, then you should be a little more reserved and quiet in your approach if you're not normally. Because that will help them and that will make them feel comfortable. If they're really loud and outgoing and you're not normally really loud and outgoing, then you need to step outside your comfort zone and just be a little more loud and outgoing, because then you will have rapport and you will get on with them. Some people are really happy for you to sit close to them, and others want you to keep their distance. And at the moment, of course, we're all keeping our distance. So always look for these signs, and don't ever intrude on your prospect's personal space, because that can put them off immediately. So no matter what, don't get too close to people. Some people seem to be in a hurry and they want the short version, and give it to them very clearly and very precisely. What's your elevator pitch, guys? Get your short story down for these people, because some people, that's all they want. And you know what? Some people, that's all they need. They will hear it. If you give it clearly and precisely, they will hear it, they will take it in, and you don't need to do much else with them, because they're that sort of person. Others, of course, want you to spend time with them and explain every little detail. And again, you need to take the time within reason. Some people can be simply time wasters because they like your attention, they like the time you're spending with them. But if you should be able to get the idea of whether they will ever be interested in joining your business or not. And if you think at some stage they will, then of course you take the time. But always be careful with your time. Your time is precious, and there are a lot of time wasters out there. Some people are visual, and you will need to give them all the information in written form with pictures so that they can study it over and over and over again. And of course, that is an analyzer. and others will just hear what you say and take it all in. So focusing on shares concerned is like watering flowers in a garden, and focusing on differences. Don't focus on differences, because without attention to similarities, it's just like watering the weeds. You know, water only the flowers and pull out the weeds, and you truly will have a beautiful garden. So focusing on shared concerns and not focusing on people's differences is really important. So I would like to take a few minutes and just explain this to you guys, and I'm going to give you a Google link to this so that you can go and do this for yourself if you like, but I need to kind of explain how it works. So what you'll download on my Google link is questions. So there is a questionnaire there, and this is what the answer grid looks like. And then at the end, you take these numbers and you just fill up from the bottom up. So here you can see 22. Oh, sorry, that's a different one. But anyway, I'll get to the right one in a minute. But that's how you do this. It should always equal 102. So all of the numbers across the bottom, if you add them up and they don't add up to 102, then you've missed something or you've added up wrong. So firstly, go through the questions on the document, answer the questions honestly as you can, and don't overthink it, or you will be, you'll get a reading that's not correct. Just circle or mark the one that suits you the best, and really don't overthink it. Whatever comes into your brain straight up when you ask that question is normally the right answer. Don't try and influence this, because if you do try and influence it, will be totally wrong, and then that is absolutely pointless for you to even bother. So in questions 1 through to 13, if your answer is B, you circle the double B. And if it's a C, then, in question 3, you would circle the double C. So 1 to 13, you are circling. If your answer's B, there's 2 Bs, there's 2 Cs, there's 2 As, there's 2 Ds. So you circle the double one. And then in questions 14 to 51, if the answer is A, then you will find 2 A's. Okay, if you look across this line here, question 17, if your answer to question 17 is A, then you select the A in this column and the A in this column. If your answer is B to a question, then you will circle the B's. There will be 2 B's and you will circle the B's. So once you have finished, then you need to add up the points in each column and put them down the bottom. And when you add them all up, they should come to 102. And if they don't, go back and just check the counting again. You may have missed something because these guys count for 2. Okay, so if we're counting down here, this double B is going to be 2 points. This A is going to be 1 point. Okay, so that's how that works. Don't worry about what is yellow there. It's not correct. Okie doke. So here is an example. So say your scores were 14, 32, 19, and 37. So what you will do is you will fill in the corresponding columns from the bottom up to the score for each one. So here in the first column, you had 14, you will fill up to number 14. Then this will show you how high or low each of your patterns is in the CAPS profile. So in this case, the person is a supporter and a secondary analyzer. As you can see, they're quite high in the supporter and their analyzer is secondary. And that is very, very common. Supporters and analyzers very, very often go together. They have some promoter in them and they have not that much controller, which is not surprising because they are the ones that just have nothing in common. And this is what a supporter promoter is going to look like. So you might have a high supporter and a high promoter. And again, these guys have quite a bit in common too. you know, they like people and stuff like that. So it's not, it's very common to see a supporter promoter or a promoter supporter. So personality shared traits. Some personality styles have more in common than others and are more likely to work together harmoniously. But remember, we all have some part of each personality in us, even if it is only a really small part. So if you focus on the things that you have in common, your world will be a much better place. So you may have some questions for me. I'm happy to spend a few minutes answering some questions in the chat box, and I'm actually going to stick this in the chat box as well. So just give me a minute. I'm going to copy that off my computer somewhere here so that you can download that if you wish to. So I'm going to stop my share and find my notes. Here it is. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that in the chat. If you would like to download that from Google Docs, there it is. And it's just a set of questions. As said, answer them as truthfully as you can and as quickly as you can, because that makes them more truthful. If you think about it and you start to think, oh, am I more this, am I more that, and you end up with not a very clear, you know, precise you know, ending. So let me see if there's what's in here. Where is the recording of this webinar? It has been recorded and we will share it with the leaders so that you guys can get a copy of it. What would I recommend? The best video link to explain to people what redox signaling molecules are. I've been sending Dr. Gary Samuelson's. The only people you would send Dr. Gary Samuelson's explanation to is an analyzer, probably. Let me think. I don't know. Look, there is a wonderful explanation that is just so simple. And you need to make it simple. Really, really simple. You know, we are all made of cells. Not all our cells are healthy at the same time. The molecule that is responsible for keeping our cells healthy is called a redox molecule. Up until recently, they could not be made outside of the body, but this company has actually managed to create and stabilize these molecules outside of the body, and we can now supplement with them, and they are responsible for detecting, repairing, and replacing damaged cells and increasing antioxidant efficiency. Get that from somewhere and write it down, because literally that's all you need to tell people about ASEA. If you send Dr. Gary Samuelson stuff, really send it to an analyzer. Other personality types will just not finish watching that video, as you can probably understand after tonight. You're very welcome, Heather. I can't see the link, can't see it, Julie. Okay, let me, okay, I know why. I sent it to the panelists instead of attendees. That's not going to help all of you, is it? There we go. Hopefully you can see it now. Great. Okay. And hopefully you should be able to click on that and download it. It is really interesting to do your personality profile. And, you know, it can change over time a little if circumstances in your life change. Especially if roles change, you know, other things come to the forefront. But the really interesting part about all of this for us as network marketers is learning how to deal with people quickly when you meet them. Because if you think they want to be treated like you want to be treated, it's not correct. You know, they may be a totally different personality to you. And, you know, I had hairdressing salons for 25 years and I did this training a lot with my staff. And it helped a lot. It really did help a lot when somebody walked into our salon with a book under their arm and glasses and, you know, and didn't really say very much. Then my girls and my staff knew that they didn't want to make small talk. You know, they wanted to sit in their chair, read their book, have their hair done, be spoken to as little as possible, enjoy a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, but not be bothered. And that's important when you're trying to get people interested in your business, because they need to feel comfortable with you. So I hope that's helped. I will make sure that the copy of this gets out to everybody. And yeah, no worries, Coops. I think it's a really simple one as well. Some of the others are, you know, it's too complex and too hard to remember, but remembering those types of people kind of, it's easy. They're words that we understand. And when you think about a particular type of person, then, you know, you think about a supporter, you know exactly what a supporter is. So, and you think about an analyzer, you know exactly what an analyzer is. So I think that really does make it very simple. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us here at the ASEA Success Academy for our Monday night training. And of course, we will be back every Monday night with some interesting training for you guys. So have a great night and we'll catch you next time. See ya. Bye.